Hi, everyone. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Let me know if you're on. I can't quite tell. Okay, yes. We got 5 people so far. I'm going to just give everybody a couple minutes before we really get started. I'm going to start sharing my screen and everything with you guys. If you're there, say hello. Sometimes I just feel like I'm talking to no one. I'm just talking to a computer screen. So if you're there, let me know. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, let me go to the very beginning. Hold on. I'm just getting everything together really quick. Just trying to share my screen here with everybody. There we go. I think we should be good to go. Guys, I'm so excited for this. Every time I do this, I feel like it's been forever since I've done it. So I'm pumped to start off with talking about the ketogenic diet. So the first thing I want to tell you, though, is that if you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat and I will answer them. Hi, Rhonda. And I will, I have, this slide's going to come up a couple times. So if anybody comes on late, so just know that I'm going to just remind people, like if you have any questions, if you have any comments, put them in that section, and I have a Q&A at the end that I'll spend some time answering any of the questions if we didn't go over them already. And I also want to let you know, when I do webinars, I just want to honor you for being on and engaging with me, because I am very much an engaging person. So if you do make a comment or if you ask a question, at the end of this, I will enter your name in to win a $50 gift card to Whole Foods. And it can just be like a, hi, I'm here. And if you hear Rue, she is in here with me. You can say hello when you can see her. Say hi, Rue. Oh, and right into her butt. But here we are. So if she barks in the middle, I apologize, but she is in here with me. But if you comment or if you have a question, put it in there. And at the very end, I will email it to you right away. So then that way you can use that for some shopping, maybe for some food that is ketogenic. But I just want to honor you. So every single time that you comment or question, it will be an entry into win that $50 Whole Foods gift card. All right. You guys ready? Let's get started. So all about keto. Like I think about when we, the word keto, like it's short for the word ketogenic. So it's a way of eating, and maybe you've heard people say like, I'm going to go keto or I'm going keto. And honestly though, like research has shown that it is an excellent way and a healthy way to actually boost weight loss and jumpstart the goals that you might have for your health. It's not just about weight loss. What's so crazy about the ketogenic diet is that it has been used in the 1920s, and it was mainly used as a treatment for epilepsy, which is so crazy when you think about that. Like it's become so popular and it's been marketed like just in these recent years, but it's been used as a treatment for epilepsy since the 1920s. So almost 100 years it's been used, which, oh no, is that 100 years? Yes, 100 years. But the reason they saw that it was a benefit was because it helps your body in like the ways that fasting benefits our health. Keto is very similar to those benefits that you get from fasting. So the cool thing is like all of you that I've talked to, like your questions that you have about keto, you're like, I don't like totally get what it means, or like, are you gonna like, do we just eat meat and cheese? And so over this next about 25 minutes to a half hour, I'm going to explain to you in great detail what it is, how it works, and how you can do it in a very healthy way. So how does this whole ketogenic thing work? So I want you to first imagine your body as a car, and you're car uses gasoline for fuel. Well, our bodies use what's called glucose, or it actually uses sugar as its source. So think about your body. Glucose is the gasoline. So your body breaks down food into glucose for energy. But the problem is, okay, so what happens when your body doesn't have enough glucose to use? Because if you think about it, like if your car doesn't have gasoline, it doesn't run like at all whatsoever. So if our bodies don't have glucose, how is it going to work? Well, thankfully, that doesn't happen to our body. And we have this backup fuel, and it's called ketones, hence why it's called ketogenic diet. And so your liver creates these ketones from fat that you eat, and then the excess fat that you have on your body. And so when your body starts using ketones as fuel instead of glucose, this is when you get into a state called ketosis. And so on a ketogenic diet, what you're doing is you're restricting anything that would turn into glucose, which would be you're limiting carbohydrates, and then you're also limiting protein, because even if you have too much protein, it can turn into glucose, sugar, and then your body is no longer in a ketogenic state. So now what keto means is that you're consuming a diet that's high in fat. Now, we will be talking about what kind of fat you're supposed to be eating, because the quality of the food that you eat absolutely matters. But when you don't have enough carbohydrates or protein, I don't want to say the word enough. Actually, let me backtrack. Like just not an overload of carbohydrates and protein in your diet, that means that you don't have as much glucose for fuel. So then your body utilizes that, and it converts the fat you eat and the fat in your body into this ketone. So then you end up burning fat for fuel instead of sugar for fuel. So you become a fat burner. So that's pretty awesome, because that can kickstart weight loss. It can kickstart your body, your hormones. It can kickstart your brain function. It can help your body work better when it's using fat for fuel instead of sugar. Now, when you get into a state of ketosis, you are not burning muscle as long as you have enough protein, which we'll talk about. So you're burning fat, not muscle, when you are turning this fat into energy, into ketosis. So your body's always producing these ketones though. Like right now, even if you've been eating a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, a lot of protein, your body is still making these ketones. But when you're eating a ketogenic diet, what you're trying to do is making those ketones the primary source of your fuel instead of the glucose as the primary source of fuel. Does that make sense? Just checking to make sure. Hi, Donna. Hi, Key. And she's like, I don't really fully understand ketosis now. And I hope that you do. So like, if you have any questions, again, as we go through, please let me know. So when talking about keto, there are ratios. And a lot of times when you're first starting eating like a ketogenic diet, what will happen is it's a good idea to track. So like counting macros is what this is called. So like you can see right there, like the ratios of keto. So like having 60 to 75% of your total intake of food per the entire day would be fat. And then you would have 20 to 30% protein, and then you would have 5% net carbs. So this is where you can see it's like low carb, moderate protein intake, and then a higher fat intake. So the design of this in general is just to really reduce that intake of your carbs down to 5% and replacing that with healthy fats. So you're not starving yourself, and you're not like you're doing this instead of that. So you're replacing carbs with healthy fats as your total intake for the day. So these are your recommended ratios when you're first starting. Now, you can play around with them and see what your body prefers, but this is the recommended rate. And so like when you're first starting, like I would say go on the lower end of the fat, 60, go to 20, and then try to get about 5% of carbs. Like I know that doesn't equal 100%, but trying to get somewhere around in those ratios and play with those, but on the lower end, and then gradually work your way into the upper higher end of like the 75 and then the 25%. Like those are where you want to start to work into. You can't, when I first started doing eating like a ketogenic diet, and we still to this day try to have more high fat, lower carbohydrates, but more in the carbohydrates of like grains, breads, like pastas. Like we just don't do that at all. But vegetables are considered carbs, which we'll talk about here in just a minute, of like what kind of carbs can I eat, because I don't want you to just be like don't eat any vegetables because those are considered carbs. But the biggest thing when I don't track anymore, but I did at the very beginning, and I found that I wasn't getting enough protein, and protein saves your muscles. So like if you want to still have muscles, like you need to have and make sure that you eat enough protein. Now, getting back to carbs, some carbs have higher glucose, they are higher on the glycemic index. So that means that they're going to cause a rapid increase in your blood sugar and your blood glucose. So while following a ketogenic diet, like it's important to understand what carbs are. And you can see how it says there, it says net carb. So there is, when you're calculating net carbs, so you might eat something that might say the total carbs is this, but on a ketogenic diet, the fiber doesn't count. And if there's any sugar alcohols in there, we want to subtract that from the carbohydrate total. So why and what does that even mean? What's the difference between carbs and net carbs? So a net carb is only what is absorbed by your body. So fiber is not absorbed by your body, and neither are sugar alcohols. They are mainly the stuff that drives everything through to go into the toilet. So they are not absorbed. So a net carb is what's going to be absorbed into your body. So how it's calculated, you look on the label, total carbs. Look for the fiber, subtract that number, look for any sugar alcohols. It'll say it on there, sugar alcohols. But sugar alcohols are anything made with erythritol or xylitol. So for example, they're mainly like in snack bars and like boxed foods, and like those types of things are where you're going to want to make sure you do this calculation. But let's say a snack bar has a total of 20 carbs in it, but there's 5 grams of fiber and 2 grams of sugar alcohol. You subtract 5, you subtract 2, so then that's -7. So that equals 13 net carbs. Now, you have to be sure that you're staying within 20 to 50 net carbs per day. Like grams wise, like the percentage of like 5% is about 20 to 50 net carbs per day. That can be a little bit confusing when it comes to that, but that helps you to be like, you don't just go through all of your carbs in a day. And there are different bars and snacks that you can have, but their net carbs are way less. So you can actually eat more than you realize. The way that I track most of this, and like this app will actually calculate your net carbs, and it has it inside of there. This is the one that I have used. It's also the one that I can see. So if you decide to start tracking your macros and see what you're doing with your fats, carbs, and proteins, this is the one that I recommend and that I actually like the most. And I can see it. So if you need some help with this, please let me know, and I will set you up on the app. It will calculate automatically what your percentages are. And what's really cool is like there's a pie chart, there is a line graph. So however your brain works, you can actually, like those of you that have like Apple Watches and you try to close your rings every day. So it kind of looks like that. Like you try and close your fat rings, you try to close your carb rings, you try to close your protein rings every single day. That's kind of how this app is set up. But I can, because it's like a community too. So like I can see what you are eating, because you track, like for breakfast, you have coffee, bacon, eggs, however that looks, like you put that in there and it'll automatically calculate how many proteins, carbs, and fats are inside of each one of those things, add them up for the day, and you can see where you're either lacking or what you need more of, or where you might be going way over. And you don't want to go way over either, because that's the same thing. Just because it's high fat doesn't mean that you need to eat 100% fat. That's not a good thing. Like, you still need protein, you still need carbs. Some people also like the Senza app. I downloaded it and looked through it. It's still a really great app. It just depends on, I don't know, how your brain works. It's a little bit different in how it's set up and designed. But either one of those two, there's tons of apps like MyFitnessPal. If you have that one, it's also a great app, but I'm pretty sure that you have to pay for it, like, to get all the features. And Carb Manager, like, it gives you a whole ton of features that I really love that don't cost anything. But we have a patient, and I followed him, and we got to see, and we would meet, and we would go through, like, okay, so, like, you are not getting enough protein, and he wants to build muscle. So I'm like, we've got to get that protein intake. Or I'm like, hey, like, I don't know, like, that burrito, like, might not have been the best choice. Like, let's do something different. But this is the best way to kind of, like, start the process if you want to, like, really track what you are eating. Just a reminder, if you have joined us a little late, any questions, any comments, please put them in the section, and I have time to, at the end, to do a Q&A, and I will enter your name into win a $50, I almost said $500, $50 gift card to Whole Foods. Wouldn't that be amazing? So let's keep moving on. So what's the health benefit of, like, switching over from what you see there, all the pasta, the bread, like, all of those things? What if we transitioned into something that looked more like avocados and raw nuts and seeds, and having, like, that healthy food? I really want to explain to you guys, like, what is the benefit of why you would even do this? Because I know a big thing is weight loss. It's how it's marketed, like, a ton. And that is, like, one of the biggest reasons for the ketogenic diet. Like, one of the greatest and known benefits is how it can, like, rapidly, like, very rapidly cause your body to lose weight, which I love more than anything. But when your body enters this state of ketosis, you can kind of see now, like, your body's primary source of fuel is coming from, like, instead of being full of carbohydrates and the pastas and the breads and the glucose, like, and the sugars, it's now going to that ketones, like, which is producing, it's like, when you're starving your body of that sugar and those carbs, now it's using any excess fat on your body for fuel. So it's literally taking anything that doesn't need to be there and using it for fuel. So, like, that is why fat loss is boosted. That is why weight loss is increased, is because you're using fat for fuel instead of using sugar. You're burning so much more fat by having a higher fat content while you're eating. You have to eat fat in order to burn fat. When we're eating sugar, we're only burning sugar. Remember, I said that's, like, its primary fuel source. That's the gasoline for our bodies. But our bodies don't run out like a car would. It uses the fat for fuel instead. The other thing that is really awesome is how much having, like, eating ketogenic and eating more high fats, it is linked to so much positivity when it comes to your brain function. Well, think about it. Like, your brain is primarily made up of fat. So when we're eating healthier fats, our bodies are able to utilize it better. They've done research, and it's like ketones can supply up to 70% of your brain's energy. So it loves ketones for energy. So your brain can function better when it has ketones as a source for fuel as it does for glucose. Now, the remaining energy, the 30%, can be supplied through the small amounts of glucose that can be that you'll eat a little bit, like, of, but it's also produced by your body too. So eating a ketogenic diet is linked to improving your memory, your cognition. It can even decrease migraines. So that is a huge benefit on top of weight loss. So it's not just about your body losing weight. Another aspect, if you can kind of put the puzzle pieces together, why eating ketogenic would help decrease your blood sugar. Like, think about it. Like, if you're not eating glucose, which is sugar, your body is now producing, or it's now using fat for fuel. So it's not using carbs, it's not using glucose. So then that means insulin secretion goes down, less fluctuations in your blood sugar. You're not going like up and down and up and down. You're not like having to have sugar in the morning just to crash in the middle of the day and then like have more so then your body can have the energy to sustain the day. Like when you're eating this fat, like you're able to sustain longer. The research now has shown that a ketogenic way of eating has been linked to improvements in blood sugar and A1C levels. And it reduces that amount of insulin needed. Like, and they've compared this to other diets, like vegan, vegetarian, like paleo, Whole30, and they've seen like the ketogenic diet is what helps blood sugar levels and A1C levels and insulin levels more than anything else. So this is a big deal. Again, questions or comments? That was too many. I'm going to skip past this one. Now, the importance of the quality. This is where I want to talk about like what's crazy about some things like you've probably read or seen before, people just eating like meat and cheese. Like you can go to McDonald's right now and you can take the bun off and it would still, like you could get a Big Mac minus the bun and that would be considered keto. That is called like dirty keto, and then there's like healthy keto, like the right way to actually do things. So first I'm going to talk about it matters the quality of the food that you eat. You cannot just eat salami and cheese that you just buy like a charcuterie board every day, even though that's considered keto. Like that is not like, and you even might lose so much weight, but you are missing a big part of what it means for your body to be truly healthy and well. The right way to go keto involves the importance of the quality of the food that you eat. So, for example, the meat that you eat, the quality of that matters. So it needs to be grass-fed beef. It needs to be free-range chicken. It needs to be pasture-raised eggs. It needs to be wild-caught fish. Those things right there, that's what's going to help bring nutrients to your body. It gives you the healthy fats and not the damaged fats that come from cows that eat grain and just any beef and any chicken. Like that is not how we want to fuel our bodies. It's just like, and I know most of the time, like with gas, like we get the 87, I think that's what it's called. So funny, like you just get gas, like you don't even think about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, what kind of gas do I even get? But like you get that gas, but if you want like the good gas, you go to the 89. So like your body, like you only get one of these. You can buy a new car, you can just put that kind of gas, regular gas inside of there. But like, think about like, if you want like a Ferrari, like you want like the best car, like it's going to take the best fuel in order for the longevity of that car to last. Your body, you have a Ferrari, like you have the best thing. Like God gave us this amazing temple, this amazing body, and we're just gonna put crap fuel in it. Like that is not how we take care of this Ferrari that we have. So that quality of the food that we eat, it should matter and it should mean something, and it should be somewhere that we have as a priority when it comes to the food that we eat. We're not just like eating and eating and eating, but like that we're actually thinking about what we're putting in our bodies. What are we fueling it with? Now, Key said something on here. She's like, oh no, I eat all of the vegetables. So all I eat is mostly vegetables, and she's not eating a lot of meat right now. So when that happens, yes, she's like, during Q&A, can you give me some of those? Yes, I will do that. I'm going to save that. Donna says, what are macros? Macros are macronutrients. So macronutrients are fats, sugars, carbs. Micronutrients are like minerals and vitamins. So the smaller ones, but macros are macronutrients, fat, carbs, proteins. Now, I want to talk about vegetables for a second when it comes to this. there are lower carb vegetables, and I'm going to give you some, but literally just Google low carb vegetables and you will have a list of a ton of low carb vegetables. So then that way you can kind of focus on those as your body's starting to get into ketosis. So, for example, cauliflower is one of the best low carb ones. Like, we are literally having cauliflower every single day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, and we had it yesterday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Not on purpose. It just happened that way when I was meal planning. I was like, well, we're having cauliflower every day in a different form. Like, we had cauliflower soup today. Yesterday, we had roasted cauliflower rice, and then cauliflower puree. So having it in all kinds of different ways. But cauliflower is a huge one that's low carb. Broccoli, spinach, zucchini, bell peppers, cucumbers, asparagus. So there are tons of vegetables that we need. They're full of magnesium, vitamins, minerals, vitamin C, vitamin K. Like, we want all of those things inside of our bodies. So the importance of the quality of those does matter, however, too. So in the chat right now, I'm going to put in a link to what's called the Clean 15 Dirty Dozen. And what this is, the quality of your vegetables. We talked about meat. Meat has to be number one. I would much rather you put it in there. Spend your money and your budget that you have on quality meat before you would vegetables, because that matters. They're higher on the food chain, so that's where most of your money is going to go for your budget, is making sure the quality of your protein. The good thing about vegetables is, like, they don't cost a whole lot, like, at all. Like, if you can buy them organic, though, like, buy them organic. But the EWG, it's called the Environmental Working Group. That's the link that I posted inside the comments. And it's Clean 15 Dirty Dozen. This helps improve the quality of your vegetables because of the pesticides that they spray on our vegetables. And every year they take the ones that have been sprayed the most, and they want you to buy those organic. It changes every year. There's the ones that usually always stay on the top are strawberries and spinach. Like, those two stay on the top. Like, they're highly sprayed with pesticides. So we want to buy those organic. We want that quality of that. We don't want to fuel our body with a bunch of pesticides and herbicides. Like, so there's levels in different ways. So you can download, you can go to that app. It's there. You can go to the bottom of it and it'll say, get the guide for the Dirty Dozen. So the one that's right there is the Clean 15. Those are the ones you don't have to buy organic. You can buy them conventional, save your money. But the ones that are on the Dirty Dozen, you get organic. Then if you go to the very bottom of that page, actually it says download the app. That is what I have done. So I have the app on my phone. So then when I'm going to the store, I can see which one. It's called Healthy Living. And that's the one that I go to. And I click on it and I'm like, okay, do I have to buy this one organic? Do I not? Can I buy it conventional? That's how you want to do that. That makes sense? So you need to understand, like, this isn't meat and cheese. This isn't charcuterie board. This is really getting the nutrients that your body needs, but in the right ratio and increasing those healthy fats. So what are those healthy fats? Avocados, raw nuts and seeds, anything like coconuts, like coconut oil, coconut milk, just straight coconut flakes. Those are amazing. Avocado oil, if I didn't say that already, olive oil, like healthy fats. We want to put those on everything. So today, like, for example, we had a salad. We actually didn't eat any meat for lunch. Sometimes we don't do that, but I add healthy fats on top of it. But we had a salad and then cauliflower soup. So I had low carb cauliflower soup that was like, had green curry paste inside of it. It had garlic inside of it, had lemon juice inside of it, cilantro, basil. It was delicious. But then we had a salad. And on top of my salad, like, we always put like avocado. We put a half of an avocado. I shared it between Dr. Michael and I always put like pumpkin seeds and walnuts. That brain function slide with the walnut on it, it's actually meant to, it looks like a brain. So walnuts are so good for your brain, and they're full of these healthy fats. So these healthy fats you want to add into your diet on a regular basis. Grass-fed beef is a really great one that has good ratios of healthy fats in them. Wild-caught fish like salmon, and we do a lot of salmon. We do flounder because it's pretty cheap and it doesn't taste very fishy. The only one you got to stay away from is tilapia. That's the one that you just don't eat tilapia, but all the other fishes, making sure they're wild caught, have tons and tons of healthy fats inside of them. Raw cheeses. So the quality of your cheese. So like not just like shredded cheese from the shredded cheese aisle. Like you want to make sure that it's at least organic, full fat, whole milk, has all the things inside of it. That's where you want to make sure the quality of your food goes into. We do raw cheese if we're going to do any cheese. We actually eat mainly ketogenic without any cheese whatsoever. So we just increase our healthy fat intake with everything but cheese. But if you do like cheese, make sure that it's organic. Raw means that it's not pasteurized. So you get all the nutrients that you would get normally from cheese without it being heated up super high and then fortified with a bunch of vitamins. So we get raw cheese. It will say it on there. Our favorite place to get raw cheese though is the like artisan cheese section at Kroger. You can look on the thing and it'll say raw or passed, and you want to get the raw kind, not the pasteurized kind. If you have any questions, at the end, I'm going to give you guys a link to a paper that you can have of like breaking all of this down, and it's called the Keto Perspective, so that you can get some ideas and what this looks like, and I'm here to help you. So if you have any questions or if you're struggling at all, let me know. Okay, what should keto not be? So it shouldn't contain a whole lot of processed foods like bacon. Literally, you could eat a whole thing of bacon and that would be considered ketogenic. I really don't recommend that because pork is a pretty unclean animal, and unless you're going to eat it in a good, healthy way that's like vegetarian fed, organic, no sugars, like it's a pretty processed meat. I still love me some bacon. My family was in town over the weekend and we went and ate at brunch at a place and I had a piece of bacon. Like, I'm not like so stingy on those things, but like we don't really buy a lot of bacon. We don't really have a lot of bacon. Dr. Michael in the past has gotten beef bacon. So we've done some of that, but we don't eat a whole lot of pork only because they're just not, they're cannibals. Like they don't get fed very well. They're not treated very well. So we just don't put that quality of a meat inside of our bodies. But also no refined oil. So nothing like vegetable oil, no canola oils, those types of things you want to steer clear and stay away from. That's not good quality food to be putting in our bodies. And then also like artificial sweeteners, things like Splenda, Sweet and Low, Equal, those, even though they are actually low carb, and so they can sometimes be put into a lot of things because there's no carbs to them whatsoever, but they're artificial. So we want to focus on quality, not just numbers and putting food into our mouth. So even though you can lose weight, even though that's the big part, that is not quite what we're going for when it comes to like really truly what it means to not only lose weight, but to be healthy. So the quality of your food does matter. And I've already said it over and over and over again. I'll say it one more time. It is not like eating a charcuterie board. Like that is not how our bodies are going to be healthy in the long run. Amen. Great. Now, I want to talk about this quickly. Sometimes when you are moving over into this transition from glucose to ketones, your body might have some unpleasant symptoms due to this just changeover. It's sometimes called the keto flu, and it might look like nausea, it might look like vomiting, it might look like diarrhea, it might look like headaches, it might look like weakness, it might look like what's happening right now in our world, but it's just the keto flu. So even though it's pretty unpleasant for this to happen, it's your body's detoxing, as well as sometimes it can be an electrolyte imbalance. And so in order to combat this, in order to prevent this, you need to stay very hydrated. You need to make sure that you are sleeping and getting enough sleep. And then the other part is making sure that you're getting enough electrolytes. Now, you can drink electrolytes, you can buy electrolytes, Or what Dr. Michael and I do is we actually just use salt. So what we do is in the morning or in the evening, you can do it as many times as you want to replenish the electrolytes, because salts are electrolytes. You just take a pinch of salt and you put it in water, you stir it up and you drink it. It doesn't need to taste like the ocean. Like, it is very fine to just have like a pinch of salt. You can play with it and put up to even like a half a teaspoon of salt in your water. And sometimes you might not taste it. Sometimes we also put like lemon juice inside of there and we'll drink it up. It's so good for you and it can balance things out. We have a patient and she had the keto flu and she's like, I feel miserable. This is awful. And she started putting salt in her water. She was drinking it and she came back and she was like, oh my God, I feel night and day difference. So even though it's a little bit weird, you're not gargling it. It's not that salty, but to balance it out, it's a simple thing to help you combat if that is what your body decides to do as you transition over. Any more questions or comments that we have? Put them in the comments section. The last thing I want to talk about before we do some Q&A and I give you that perspective is to talk about your mindset as we go through this. So just think about nothing that I just told you matters, okay? Like, just forget it for a minute. Anytime you're changing something in your lifestyle, like, it's not always an easy process, but I promise you it is worth it. You know, we've been on this journey. I graduated chiropractic school in 2012, but I was on this journey before that, about 4 or so years before that. And so it's been quite a long time that we've been doing this. And I had a thyroid problem and they wanted to give me radioactive iodine, burn my thyroid out, put me on medicine. And I can tell you, like, if I would have stayed on that road, if I would have stayed on that path, and if someone would have told me, maybe you should try a Max Living chiropractor, like, I don't know where I would be today. And I want you to think about that. Like, so if you keep going and doing the things that you've been doing, living the lifestyle that you've been living, like, where will you be in 5 to 10 years? Like, I don't know. I don't know where I probably wouldn't have a thyroid. I'd be on a lot of medicines. And I, at one time, weighed 200 pounds. And I promise you that I would probably weigh more than that. My body would not be able to function. It would not be able to heal. Like, I love working out, well, sort of like now, but like, I know I wouldn't be able to move my body like I would be able to. Dr. Michael and I going on vacations, like, and doing things, like, we don't have kids yet, but like, I want to be there and I want to run with them. And I'm not going to grandparent and parent from a couch. Like, I'm going to change my lifestyle, and like, the testimonies and things that come from changing the lifestyle. But the first place that you have to start is right here. Like, when you know the benefits of what it can do for your body, like, it's really easy right now to get excited. It's really easy January 1st to get excited, to get pumped and get ready to start the process. Like, it's like, yes. But every single time that happens, every change that you make, it comes with challenges. So your mindset towards your goals and what you want to do, like, you have to set yourself up for success, even through the challenges. Because the challenges will come. You're going to want to quit. You're going to want to eat ice cream. You're going to want to eat pizza. Like, you're going to want to do this, but know why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to change your lifestyle? Like, why do you want to stick with it? List them out. Read them every single day. Get them in the neurology of your entire body so that when those challenges come, you can stand up and be like, no, I won't do that. I'm going this way because my family matters. My husband matters. My wife matters. My kids matter to me. And I'm going to take care of this temple because God matters to me. He made this body and I am going to honor it. And every time you make those decisions, I promise you, it makes it better and easier for the next challenge to come. But I don't want to just give you guys a whole bunch of great information and like some good tips and some good recipes if this right here doesn't change. If this doesn't change, then it is another fad diet, and it's another thing that doesn't work. It's another time that you tried something and you failed. Give yourself grace. Forgive yourself for all the stuff that you've done in the past that you've tried and you've failed. Give yourself like permission to go for it again. Even if you fail, you will get back up again. Even if you go off track, you will get back on again. But sometimes those things of the past will keep us from going forward because they're stuck in there. Change your mindset. Know why you're doing this, because you matter, your family matters, all of that matters. Okay? I love you guys. So keto perspective. You're going to have questions. You're going to be like, what did she say? How should I do this? What are some things that I need to be doing? I'm going to put it right now into this chat. And you can, I have one here printed off. Like you can print it off front and back. You have it right here. And you can go through and you can see one by one of all the things that you can do to help your body transition into this ketogenic state. Oh, you know what I did? No, I didn't. Wait, did I? You guys, did I put yeah, I did. Beautiful. So I posted it in the comments, Facebook, I think. Yep, there we go. And it's in there. So then that way you guys click on that link. You can have it on there and make sure, oh, it says an error has occurred. Let me know for some reason if that's not on there, and I will repost it again. Because it looks like it did, but then it said an error occurred. So just let me know as we do this. But this is an excellent resource for you so that way you can incorporate diet, exercise, detoxing your body, your mindset, chiropractic, all of those things together and start and begin. I think about this sometimes, like give your body a reset. Reset yourself. Thanks, Ellen. Reset yourself this year by putting all the fuel that you need inside of your body, all of that good stuff. So, a few action steps before we go into the Q&A. Number one, download, get that keto perspective into your hands, read it, like dissect it, get on it, put where you're going to start. Like it might just be like you're going to see on that keto perspective, like some of it just starts with drinking water. Maybe that's just where you need to start. Pick the ones that you're going to start with first and go for it. Then download one of the apps. Play around with it. See if it can help keep accountability for you. That's sometimes why I love it and why I'm like, if you download that app, let me know. I will look at it. And that might help create this accountability for you because you know I'm looking at your app and what you're eating and what you're putting in your body. If you need that accountability, I'll be that for you. Number three, or do it with someone else. Like I don't have to be that one for you. Like download it with a friend. You can totally do that too. Number three, start just modifying and changing your diet. Maybe it's right now just adding more healthy fats in. It might not be quite getting rid of all the carbohydrates, but start modifying and changing your food and what you're eating. It might even be just the thought of changing your food starts that way, but start changing stuff that you're putting in your body. Start changing your fuel. And then the last thing of the action step is just reassess. Do it for 30 days, reassess, see how you're doing. It's literally like that. Like that's what we do. We're like, let's assess where we're at. Do we want to eat this way? How are we doing? Change it if we need to. Oh, yep, we need to get rid of that for a minute. Let's do this. Like reassess. Like that's all you're doing. You're not failing. You're just going to reassess to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. So let's get into any questions that we have here. You guys still with me? I know I said like 25, 30 minutes, but you guys know better than that. I'm going to be on my last night mouse. Okay, there it is. Okay, let's see. How we doing? Rhonda loves the carb app. So there's another person that loves the carb app. What about calorie intake? So Donna asked about calories. So on the app, it will actually ask you how tall you are, how much you weigh, and what your goals are. So like if your goal is to lose weight, it might restrict your calories, but it'll tell you exactly how many calories that you should be eating in a day. You're not calorie restricting with ketogenic. You're just transferring things in other ways. So I don't love to count my calories. If I'm going to count anything, I would count my macros and stick to those. So it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, like counting calories sometimes it just like gets my brain, even counting sometimes on the app gets my brain, but just to start the process helps you to kind of see like, am I eating enough calories? Because you have to eat enough too. You can't starve yourself. You can't do that because then that's the opposite of what your body needs for fuel. Great question, Donna. Key asks, can you give protein alternative for suggestions of those that are not eating meat right now? Absolutely. This one's a little bit tough because I've tried to do like keto vegan for a really long time, and it's a tough one to make sure that you get all the protein that's inside of your diet that you need to, because a lot of that comes from meat, fish, and like poultry, dairy, eggs. But what I would do, Key, mainly is to focus more on, because it depends on the beans, because the beans have a lot of carbs in them, but it's really just more focusing on your higher fats than anything else. And it's tough. It's really, really tough. Give me a minute for that one in my brain, because I'm like, there's legumes, there's like beans, but that causes higher carbs. So you kind of have to play around with your percentage of things, and balancing it is a little bit tough and it can be a little bit tricky. I'm trying to remember what I did. Let me get back to you on that, Key. I might actually side email you for that, because it's just a tough one to do. But I need to go back into, I actually made a Pinterest account for vegan keto to kind of see how it would play out. But it's a little bit tough to get all that in there. That makes sense? Okay. Sorry, that one kind of got me. And I was like, wait a second. But it's tough. How do you know when you are in keto? So you can do it a couple different ways. You can test your urine, you can test your breath, and then you can also test your blood. The best way to do it is to test your blood. So like you have to buy a ketogenic, Dr. Michael has one, and I was going to look to see what his was called, but it's where you have to prick your finger and put your blood into it. It's a keto monitor. We also have keto urine strips. Like that's where I would start if you're going to, because you have to invest if you're going to check to see if you're in ketosis with a blood monitor. But we bought urine strips first to start off with. It's not the best way. Testing your blood is the better way. Donna also asked, can you eat fruit on keto? Not a whole lot of fruit. The only ones that I would recommend would be blueberries or strawberries or raspberries, like keeping in the berry family, but it's really hard to, you just have to play with your carbs. So like you kind of have a bank account. So if your bank account is this many carbs, 5%, which is 20 to 50 grams, your app will count how many can go out of it. So then that way you're good. But you can like cranberries, lemons, limes, but raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, those are the ones that you want to stay with. So those are the ones that are low on the sugar and higher on the antioxidants. So those are the ones that you want to stick with, but you can very easily go over your carbs with fruit. David, you asked, is keto for weight loss or is this a continual diet for all time? So keto, I believe, is meant for periods of time, like 30, 60, 90 days until you get to your goal of what you have. And then you can start adding more carbohydrates in them. But I wouldn't add more breads and pastas. I would add more of like the sweet potatoes and some higher carbs, higher fiber, like higher starchy vegetables in before I would add in like breads. Now, in ketogenic, I think what can make it more of a continual diet for like a longer time is if you do something called carbing up. And so this is like for some, like especially women, like you sometimes are going to run better in your life on carbs, but you also shouldn't be running your whole life on carbs, but you can do what's called a carbing up. And you have to, everybody's different. Like as much as I wish that keto was a blanket diet for everyone, it is not. And so when you start eating this way, like, and if you're like, this is not for me, what I would do is increase your carb intake slightly and see how your body does by having that kind of a glucose source. So carbing up, carb cycling is what it can also be called. Like every 3 or 4 days, have a half a cup of brown rice, see how your body responds, and then go longer. Some people go every 6 days, every 7 days, every other day. It just depends on how your body does. When you're starting to transition though into eating higher fat, like let your body get into ketosis before you put more carbs into your body. It can get into some different things, but that's something you can look up, carbing up or carb cycling for your body that might be able to help you do a ketogenic diet long term. Ellen, are there any health concerns with switching from keto to a balanced, back to keto, back to balanced? No, nope. I actually kind of love that because your body being in this high fat diet, like changing into different sources of your body getting fuel does help. And so that's kind of what Dr. Michael and I do is like sometimes we'll do 30, 60, 90 days keto, like really super strict. And then we'll move into a more balanced diet. Like we'll have a little bit of brown rice every now and then. We'll eat some fruit, like some kind of those types of things like are totally fine. I just wouldn't go from like eating keto to then like 30 days of keto strict and then eating like a Maggiano's like pasta bowl, like, or like having a big old pizza. Like that's not how you celebrate. Like that's just not what I would do at all. But keto to balance, back to keto, all good. Key says it starts in the mind. It absolutely does. Yes, sunflower seeds are an acceptable fat, Key. Those are really, really good. I love pumpkin seeds and walnuts because seeds have so much magnesium in them, and we're pretty deficient in magnesium. So that's one way where not only do I take magnesium, but I also put a handful of pumpkin seeds on my salad every day. Donna, key and I eat fruit. Do you have a quick start meal plan? Yeah, I can share one. Let me get it really quick for you guys. I have a lot of meal plans. I've made a lot of meal plans. My favorite and easiest way, if you guys ever want to follow the meal plans that I eat on a weekly basis, I do change things. So if you see something in there that has canola oil and the recipe, I didn't use that. Like I use only healthy fats and I change it over myself. But I do have an account on Pinterest and it's Dr. Cassie Major. And you'll see a picture of me and my niece and my dog. And I think I have a pink shirt on. And I do my meal plans every week. That's how I prep it. I didn't do this week because I did it out of a cookbook this week, but it'll literally say meal plan and then the date that I did it and then all the meals like that I've made for the week. So then that way you have some resources that are continuous and ongoing. Here's one. I just got to get a link to it really quick and I'll post it in there. Thanks for hanging with me, guys. Donna, thanks for asking for a quick meal plan. Okay, copied. Here's one that we've used that's pretty easy. It's a 14-day one. It's a low carb primal, which is also paleo and keto. It's a good one to start with. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to where we are. Okay, there we are. He asks me, what kind of dressing do I put on my salad? Oh, I don't know what happened to my screen. There we go. We use either I make it myself, which I usually put in olive oil, balsamic, a mustard, and I love rosemary, salt, and pepper, and I mix that together as a dressing. We love that one. It's a pretty good go-to. Otherwise, we buy Primal Kitchen's dressing, and the one that we like the most is the Green Goddess. We do the vegan ranch, and then we also like the Greek one. We always have those on hand. It's like in our pantry at all times. So then that way it's just really quick and easy. We eat a salad almost every day for lunch. It's just become a routine for us. We do a smoothie every morning full of healthy fats. We do flax seeds. We do chia seeds in there. We sometimes put avocado. We do coconut milk. So we try to put a bunch of healthy fats in there. And then at dinner, it just depends on what we're having, but we try to stick. We don't eat a whole lot of grass-fed beef, mainly for eating blood type. Like I do way better with like chicken and turkey than anything else. So we have a majority of that. We have fish 2 to 3 times a week. We try to have it almost every other day. We're having salmon tomorrow, and we just ate flounder last night. So we try to keep those healthy fats on a regular, and it's just become now part of what we do. I don't try to make insane meals anymore. It's literally like roast the chicken, roast the vegetables, have raw meal for lunch, and add all the good stuff in there. So like we just try to make it really super simple and easy, and just keeping the quality of our food excellent and making that matter. Can you tell me again what the name of the dressing you buy? Primal Kitchen. They have also like non-dairy Alfredo sauce. They have pizza sauce, pasta sauce. They have buffalo sauce, mayonnaise, chipotle mayonnaise. It's really great. I'm thankful that they exist, but it's called Primal Kitchen. They have a lot of different kinds of dressings too. The reason those ones are our favorite is because some of them have eggs in it and some of them have a little bit of honey. So we try not to buy the ones with honey in it. And then I like the vegan ranch because it doesn't have like eggs in it. So sometimes eggs are a little bit sensitive in my body. But yes, I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Reach out, and I am happy to help you. The free giveaway is the $50 gift card to Whole Foods. So once we're done here, I will absolutely put you guys all in there and then let you know and send that gift card on over to you tonight. And then the next event is the Metabolism Makeover. And when you come into the office, you're going to see it's fully decorated thanks to George and Erin. And if you haven't met Erin, she's our student intern, and she is amazing and she is awesome. Get to know her. She's super great. She'll be here for 6 months before she graduates from chiropractic school. But Saturday, February 5th at 9 a.m., Metabolism Makeover. It'll be in the office. We are so pumped for this. Like, your metabolism, like it is way more than just weight loss, but this is like gonna kick things back into gear. It's the longer one. We only do 2 of those a year from like 9 till 11:30, 12. There'll be a break, there'll be food, but we're gonna be really talking about like, how do you increase your metabolism? Like when it comes to like working out, when it comes to eating, like when you're detoxing your body, like the mindset behind increasing your metabolism, and like chiropractic can help increase your metabolism, which is so awesome. So we're going to go through each one of those on February 5th at 9 a.m. You can register online. I will put that link in the chat here in just a second. And you can also connect with us. You can connect with us on Instagram. You can connect with us on our podcast. And continue to do that, because the more that you stay engaged, the more that you're just like filled with all of this healthy stuff, like it's what we do. Like we watch healthy movies, like, and documentaries. We read health books. Like, we do all of that so that we can stay inundated. And it's not just because it's what we teach and like doing that, but it helps us to be able to live this way. Like, we're watching the CrossFit games, we're watching these people exercise, and it actually just motivates me. I'm like, yes, like, I love this. I want to do this. This is awesome. And it keeps me engaged in living an amazing, just healthy lifestyle. So I love you guys so much. I just put that link if you want to register for the metabolism makeover coming up on February 5th. One last thing. Is it at Whole Foods? Is it at Kroger? It's at both. And Dr. Michael started using Thrive Market. And so he orders it off of Thrive. So it actually comes to our house because we just eat so many salads and we use it a lot. So it comes automatically, like every month we get a bottle, 2 or 3 bottles. And if he wants to try a new one, then we do that too. But it's at both places, Kroger, Whole Foods. I don't know if it's at Publix, but I'm pretty sure it probably is. Ellen has drill that weekend. We're trying to figure out if we can record it, but I make no promises. So it's always better though in real life to come to those workshops, but we'll let you know if we record it or not. All right. Love you all so very much. Start eating better. Hey, good. Love you.